Hello friends! Today I'm recording a video about a wonderful book that I've read. I've had it for a few years. It's called Cancer Can Be Cured. This is the book. It's by Father Romano Zaga. He's a Franciscan priest, Catholic priest. And in this video what I wanted to do is give you a brief overview what he's saying, how he discovered the recipe, and then what cancers can be cured with this recipe. And then I'm gonna actually make the recipe right here so you can see how to make it. I've made it in the past and I used it and it's actually not that bad. I was able to use it. Doesn't taste that great, it's kind of bitter, but it made me feel better. I don't think that I had cancer. Maybe I did, but I just don't know. I had prescription for a CT scan, but because it's so expensive and my health insurance doesn't cover it, so I decided not to do it. It's just, I was thinking, even if I discovered I have cancer and pay all this money for the test, what would be the benefit of having that? And then I decided to just take the Aloe Arborescens, and I've been fine for the last few years. So I don't know, I cannot say, but I like this formula and I wanted to share it with you. Well, first of all, Father Romano Zaga said that he was in Brazil. He was assigned to service people in Brazil, and once they sat down in Rio Grande, and his friend, Franciscan friar Father Ratzinger, was saying that in his really poor area where he was serving, called Shiny Town in Rio Grande, he was able to witness every day how people healed from cancer. Those people were poor also, and they couldn't afford to go to the doctor and have regular treatment, but thankfully they knew about this thing, this recipe, and they used it, and apparently this Father Ratzinger was able to get the recipe from them, and then he gave the recipe to Father Romano Zaga, who with desire to make other people familiar with it, wrote this book, and I'm gonna just give you a review. So basically what you need is this plant that is called Aloe Arborescens, and this is one. This is another Aloe Arborescens plant. I have quite a few of them here. And Father Romano Zaga says that for the recipe to be effective, the plant has to be like 4 or 5 years old, not younger. It's very important that the plant is 4 or 5 years old. So for example, these two plants are younger, but this other one has at least 5 years. So I'm gonna be using the older plant for my recipe. So you need some leaves of this Aloe Arborescens, which is not like aloe vera. Both are aloes, but this is Aloe Arborescens. The other one is aloe vera. Then you add some honey. I have my own honey from my beehive. I have a beehive, and this is my own honey from this year. And then you're gonna need just a little bit of alcohol. You cannot use wine. It has to be stronger, like whiskey, or I'm gonna use vodka because that's what I have handy. Okay, so we know what ingredients come into this recipe, and now you might be wondering what kind of cancers can be affected by this recipe. And Father Romano Zaga here gives us following cancers: brain, uterus, bone, kidneys, spinal column, cerebellum, ovaries, skin, lymphatic system, lungs, tubes, intestines, liver, breast, rectum, blood system, prostate, throat, and bladder. I think that's pretty much all of them. I cannot think of any other. But that's not all. Additionally, many other health conditions are apparently affected by this preparation, and he lists these: acidity of the stomach, gastritis, ulcer, conjunctivitis, then spots on the skin, small wounds on the scalp, dandruff, rheumatism, arthritis, intestinal polyps, uterine polyps, paralysis, deafness, Parkinson's disease, baldness, sinusitis, lupus, herpes on the vaginal labia or glands, and then psoriasis, epilepsy, and athlete's foot. It also regulated bowel, eliminating constipation, eliminated fungal infections, normalized cholesterol, regulated blood pressure, stimulated the appetite, created thinner and softer hair, regulated the menstrual cycle in women who have had irregular cycles since adolescence. So that's and then also he lists solved problems of nighttime sweating and other. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm not gonna be listing all of them. And then there's a whole other list that he puts here. I refer you to the book for the complete list. He also puts here like allergic reactions, dandruff, dermatitis, eczema, abscesses, chronic ulcers, muscle cramps, and so on. So that's about it. Now I wanted to show you how I actually do this recipe. He puts the recipe on the back. There's more details about the recipe inside the book, obviously. So I'm gonna use a mixer. This is Vitamix, so that gives me a little bit of advantage because I don't need to take off the spines. He said that you use the leaf and you cut off the spines on the edges. But if you have a good blender, you don't need to cut off the edges. You don't need to cut off the spines. So I have Vitamix, that's probably the best blender in the world. So I'm not gonna be removing the spines. But if you have a blender that is not as powerful, then you're gonna have to remove the spine. Just to let you know, once you have the preparation, he recommends to take 1 tablespoon on empty stomach, like 20 minutes before you eat 3 times a day. And do it for until the jar is empty, pretty much. You do it until you finish. And then if you still did not improve, then you would do 2 tablespoons 20 minutes before eating 3 times a day. So you double the dose. Also, you can take it as a prevention or just to strengthen your body. And in that case, he recommends taking 1 tablespoon before meal, like 20-30 minutes, 3 times a day. So that's what I did last time. I did just 1 tablespoon 3 times a day before meal until it was gone. So that helped me a lot. Okay, so let's do the recipe actually. I'm gonna take my mixer, put it on the scale. And what I need is 350 grams or 0.77 pounds of Aloe Arborescens. So I'll wait for the scale to zero down. And I have it in ounces or in grams. I'm gonna switch it to grams. Okay, and I need 350 grams. So I'm gonna choose older leaves. One leaf is like 8 grams. And you're supposed to pick them like in the morning or in the evening. Oh, this is kind of morning. And you choose plants that have not been watered for like 4 or 5 days. So this hasn't been watered for 4 or 5 days, so I'm good. I have 106 grams. I need 350, so a few more leaves. This is a plant grown in a pot, so the leaves are smaller than normally you would have it, like when you grow it in the garden. I grow it in the garden during the summer, and then for the winter I bring it inside because this plant doesn't like frost. So we have frost here. If there is like a dust on the leaf, you don't wash it, you just wipe it. Mine are clean, so I don't need to do that. I'm at 270 grams. It's like a little dry spot. I need to take it off, obviously. 315. I just need a little bit more. Okay, that's 335. One more. 350. So I'll show you. This is how many leaves it takes for 350 grams. So this is 0.77 pounds. And again, if you see any dust on your leaves, just wipe it off gently. But you don't want to wash them. Now, again, if you don't have a mixer like mine, which is a very strong mixer, then at this point you would need to remove the spines, the little spiny things. See? You would need to, probably like this, with a knife, just cut off the edge like that. If you have a strong mixer, like this Vitamix here that I have, then you can mix everything. So I'm zeroing the mixer right now, and I'm gonna be adding honey. I need 1.1 pounds or half a kilo, so 500 grams. This honey smells so beautifully. I have 500 grams of honey, and now I need 40 to 50 milliliters of some strong alcohol distillate. 50 milliliters, let's see. Okay, this is 50 milliliters. And again, I'm using vodka alcohol. So that's all of the ingredients. I'll show you from last time. This is all the ingredients: the honey, the alcohol, and the aloe arborescens. pretty much takes my whole mixer. I think it's about done. There's a little piece of aloe that stayed. This is how it looks. I'm just gonna pour it to these jars. You're supposed to keep it in a dark, cold place, like in the refrigerator. Probably would be good idea to have like a dark jars, but I don't have dark jars, so I'm just using these. I may cover them with some like foil or something. So the amount that I'm getting is 3 about 9-ounce jars. They're maybe 8.5-ounce jars. Okay, and that's ready. Voila. One more thing, as you see, once you like put it in the fridge, it's gonna kind of separate. So what you need to do is each time before you eat it, mix it. So let's just do it. Before you eat it, you just mix it. And then take 1 tablespoon. It tastes pretty good. It's sweet, but it's also very bitter. So you have to get used to it. But I think the benefit outweighs the inconvenience. For the full cure, you're supposed to take all of these 3, and then when you're finished, that's when you can reevaluate whether the recipe is working for you or not. So you're supposed to take all 3 of these. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and stay healthy and well. Enjoy your life. God gave it to you. It's yours. So these jars are going to the refrigerator, and I just wanted to show you the Aloe Arborescens. This is how it looks. It has this kind of bending leaves. Here's another beautiful Aloe Arborescens. They like to grow little babies from the bottom, from the base, so you can take them out and then plant them separately with a little bit of roots. And for comparison, this is aloe vera. This is different plant. The leaves are straight and much thicker. See how thick these are?